How about my dearest YouTube friends? Today we are in a new video, and in this case a sorry noticias, collecting the news that we have had, because this week's with bugs, compensations, various problems, as always they dig new applications, new bugs that they show. In this case we are going to start with a doubt that has overwhelmed many Spanish speaking and English speaking people. And in the forum itself, they ask themselves, where is the secondary mission this month? Let's remember that this side mission is not from this month. It is going to debut a new game mode similar to poker, but in higher three hands, with battles, with scores, and so on. But friends, we have to be reading the forum because that is where they give us all the news, and I have already said it in several videos that basically what Kaban's strategy is doing is to first present the monthly supervision in a week, which is this week and the following week, premiering the new secondary mission, okay? Everyone is so calm that from now on, because apparently due to the pace that Caban is taking, that secondary mission will always premiere the following week. But friends, here presents a series of doubts. Because friends, there are many people who complain that rewards are lost. Okay, Caban doesn't admit it because basically what Caban Rest tells us is that you still receive the same amount of Mysterium, but it is limited to 3 weeks instead of 4, which in this case. Case friends, well, more doubts are detected because basically they tell us to remember that it is a store, that of Mysterium, which is not so valuable, okay? But basically it is lost, it is renewed every week. Therefore, a series of rewards are lost because basically what one has proposed is that this be told to the design team to somehow make that store updated in some other way. Okay, and therefore that's what they're going to be doing. What other friends do we have? Well, basically we have this news that basically there has been a bug in the issue of Valiente's monthly super mission. And friends, we were detecting all the rewards that should be seen. There are some who have shown it to you, such as me, who I do not have any problem, and others who have not shown it, or we have even had some problem with why. That's okay, in which they only gave a strange barbarity of ISO. So folks, that's what he was complaining about here. Okay, for example, here he tells us that the rewards were worth, they should be the same as last month. Have you seen the broadcast or act rewards? Okay, because there are some who surely notice those of the act itself. And here below, Caban himself tells us that it was not planned to give 240 ISOs per chapter, that they simply had to give 2 ISOs per chapter, and that for many people it has peaked. How not, friends? We do now enter the bug environment because, friends, this association has come loaded, not the next number of bugs, okay? Many bugs have entered as you are seeing on the screen. Basically, we started that the champion exchange nodes in Valiant in the monthly supervision since they showed the wrong class. Okay, for example, in the first one that happened to me because in theory you have to do it with skilled characters because it also left you because you select cosmic characters and sometimes they did not relate the same classes. So in this case, it has been a problem on the part of these classes. Let us remember that they are therefore experimenting with these monthly supervisions of the brave, and in this case, well, they have made this mistake. Okay, then also as we've said before, there was an incorrect amount of ISO selectors, the issue rewards, which caused a lengthy ISO selection process. Let's remember that when you see that ISO per screen, you have to be clicking one-to-one all those ISOs that you want to be claiming. Therefore, imagine 245 of ISO selecting 245 times, clicking on the one of the class you want and confirming it. The truth is that that is quite crazy. And it hasn't happened to me, but I have colleagues in the official Kala group that, by the way, is in the description in case you want to move on to the official group. Well, it has happened to them, and the truth is that they have been thrown, well, minimum 10-15 minutes claiming all the rewards. What other problems and bugs have you had throughout this such a small update? Well, it has a random degeneration, okay? It is happening at the Allium Workshop, which by the way, I remind you that I have it on a discount. You have it in the description on my WhatsApp in case you want me to do it for you at a super reduced price because basically against defenders who have degeneration present in his kit, because there was a kind of random degeneration that came out randomly. I also tell you that luckily I have not suffered this bug. This error is okay. So in this case, if you have suffered it, you already know. What could be the reason for that? What else do we have, friends? Well, Nova's power gain in the Alliance workshop itself was out of control, but in the Necropolis, not in the Shotis. In the Necropolis, therefore, it gained power instantly, super fast, therefore, making it almost impossible to play against this Nova in the Necropolis itself. If you have tried to make the Necropolis and this has happened to you, then wait a little while for them to fix this system, okay? And then, they tell us a little about the root of Alianza because unfortunately, Sasquatch and Rentras have been causing us many problems and we are actively working to solve them. Therefore, Sasquatch and Rintra have these quite ugly errors, in which case they had the kit that Rintra and Sasquatch normally have, making Rintra's cancellation unstoppable. Therefore, making you Alliance Rails, well, they are quite bullshit, okay? Therefore, we have to wait for compensation. Because what our friends from Cavan tell us here is that we understand the schedule of the Rails and the team will talk about compensation tomorrow for friends. Do we have compensation for these Alliance routes? I suppose it will be some resource, some I know life orbs or maybe some energies or something like that directly. Do not refund the assault tickets. It is worth the Alliance route. We will inform you when we find a solution, please. We appreciate your patience as always, of course. You break the game with each update. Well, normal. Okay, we have other news on this topic. Is it worth the additional raids app they literally uploaded yesterday? Okay, the team has already implemented the solution to the issues affecting Ring Truck and Sasquatch in the Nightmare Alliance raid. Also, some corrections from yesterday had collateral problems that were sucked up this afternoon. Not VA and exhibition legislation, wars, alliance, and everything mentioned above should be completely resolved with what we have just talked about before about the buses that Kaban has had in this update, and it should already be resolved by now that I am recording this video, okay? And what they're telling us is that although they have a short-term solution for the Alliance Work Showcase, until the subpoena. 52.0 that any other place where the attacker can place a degenerate from a node on a defender who has a degenerate in their base kit will still present those errors. So be very careful about facing characters who have degenerate in their kit. For example, Kindred comes to mind, okay? We are working to send them compensation for tomorrow's freaks. Okay, that is tomorrow or today or tomorrow we will receive compensation from Kavan. We regret these problems and we ask them for their patience as they always end up apologizing. What else do we have, friends? Well, basically we have sumo problems at Fest Point. Okay, because let's remember that we have this New Kingdom event that we are going to have to be playing in Battlegrounds, playing in the raids of the saga, and getting a series of daily super wind events. And the problem comes here that people are complaining because these points can also be obtained in the web store itself, that this is starting to bother many people a lot. In fact, I'm going to show you right now. There we have everything in the rune packs that we have here, since they are also giving us a series of points. As you are seeing, for example, with the Tony Stark preface, well, they give us 120 points from the Summoner Fest. Then also in the Sunken Love itself, and apart from the units, they give us 800 points as well, who are quite a few friends. That is a lot of points. So friends, people are complaining that basically this should be a totally free to play event, totally free, but that they don't think it's okay for these points to get involved. Okay, there are also some separately a kind of bug with the points because they are not giving what they really should give in the incursions and in the exhibitions of the Alliance Wars. Okay, so Kavan, well, he'll be doing something soon. And finally, friends, we have the news of how you are watching right now on the screen in the games themselves. Well, we have the Dumbo friends. Let us remember that not long ago, Kavan brought us the hench pool. Let's remember what they do. in honor of the death poloids that we obtained in the past and so on. So now they have done the same thing with the Doombots themselves. It's worth the Doombots. Let's put them in Obtenidom, and you already have them. Let's see if we see them around here in the day. Here we have to look at them. We Doombots have all the classes, and let's remember that we still don't know how we are going to achieve this. But let's remember that it will surely be a secondary mission or something like that, like we did with the dead poloids. I like them. I want to have them because in the end, it is pure and simple collecting. So friends, with this, we end this news for today. Did you like this video? Suggest you are not there and see you in other videos. Bye-bye.